Hey, I'm ChristopherJMUA and welcome back to my channel. Unless you've never been here, of course, then welcome. I'm so glad you stopped by. Today, we are reviewing the 35XO Natural Flirt palette from Morphe in collaboration with Strashme, as well as the Brush Lust 10-piece eye brush set. I think this is part of Morphe's holiday collection. If I'm not completely mistaken, I got mine both from Ulta. The brush set was $29 and the palette was $25. Now this collection also contained an Out and a Pout lip duo. It looked like it had a lip pencil and a lipstick in it. They didn't have those at Ulta. It's actually not even available on Ulta's website, so I don't know what's up with that. But it is available from Morphe's website. However, I did not order it from Morphe's website, hence why I don't have that. So if you are curious as to what the 35 Hugs and Kisses palette, XO Hugs and Kisses, if you want to know what the 35XO palette looks like, how it swatches, what it performs like, what my initial first impressions are, as well as what the brush collection looks like, and what brushes consist of the brush set, then stay exactly where you are, keep doing exactly what you're doing, and keep on watching. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the brush set first because I'm going to obviously use the brushes to do my eye makeup. We're going to get started with that. Here's what the Brush Lust 10-piece eye brush set looks like. It has that cute little polka dot circle packaging on the box, and then on the back it says what brushes are inside. We're just going to go ahead and open it and see what brushes are inside. The bag is a very, very metallic, shiny pink color. Not quite a hot pink, but not quite a baby pink. It's like right in between. Now I need to see this exact bag, but in blue, and then I would love it so much. Then if we open it, we've got all of the brushes. So it looks like we've got gold handles and ferrules on every brush. So it looks like we've got gold handles and ferrules on every brush. And let's see what brushes we have in here. So here's all the brushes within this brush set. Included in the set is a firm shadow brush, a silicone glitter packer brush, an angled concealer brush, a blending crease brush, a deluxe angled blender brush, a pointed deluxe blender brush, a pointed mini blender brush, a bullet crease brush, a brow highlighter brush, and an angled liner brush. I think this is the first time I've ever gotten any facial brushes. I mean, an angled concealer brush. Never had one of those from Morphe before. I don't even think I have this brush from Morphe already. And I've got a lot of Morphe brushes. I mean, how many Morphe collections come with brushes? Seems like almost every one nowadays. And this is what the unit carton for the 35XO palette looks like. This is the Natural Flirt palette. It looks like Christmas wrapping paper, kind of. But also Valentine's Day wrapping paper. This is a weird collection to me. It's just a weird idea for the season, but we're here and we're going to try it, so we shall see. Then if we flip it over, it says 35 ways to make them swoon because there's 35 shades in the palette. It does the same thing in a different language. Then it has ingredients at the bottom. Now let's open the palette itself and see what she looks like. And here we have the Morphe 35XO Natural Flirt Eyeshadow Palette. That is very reflective on the front. And then we have our little protective sheet, of which does not have the shade names printed on it. That's amazing. And here's the palette. Very pink and purple. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and zoom you guys in so that we can get started on swatches. The first shade is the shade Single Life. Then the shade Across the Room. Come Here Often. Your Move. Hair Flip. Get the Digits. Eye Contact. You Up. Message Read. Major Seduction. Touchy Feeling. Hard to Get. Body Language. Just Friends. Met Online. Matchmaker, Double Tap, The Chase, Talk Feelings, To Swoon, Slay the Field, Charmer, Dating History, Kiss Me, Crushin' Hard, Second Date, Show Some Skin, Let's Snuggle. The next shade is the shade Love Story. Then the shade Over the Moon, Meet the Rinse, Happy Ever After, Plus One, With This Bling, and Make It Official. Whew! Even though we barely just made it, that is every single shade from the Morphe Natural Flirt eyeshadow palette. And as always, I will insert photos of the swatches, one with flash here, and one without flash here. And here we have a video close-up of every single swatch of all 35 shades. I cannot believe I actually fit all 35 of those shades on my hand. Granted, the last shade was only 2 fingers worth, but I still got all the shades on my hand. Anyways, I have gone ahead and primed my eyes with my P. Louise base in the shade Rumor 02, so they are nice and prepped. Now this palette is very different from a lot of the other palettes I have. There's a lot of rosy kind of tones in here, but there's also quite a few mauves and pinks and purples and just some cool neutral tones. I feel like this palette is pretty flexible when it comes to the neutral scale, and being on the more pinky purple side of things, it never quite seems like it gets all the way up to a red point. It just goes from that neutral brown to at the most a purple. So it's all kind of different ranges between that. And I think that's really interesting. Although I do also think that, in my opinion, it leaves it just a little bit lackluster. I would have preferred maybe, I don't know, maybe instead of the glitter, some other pop of a color. I don't know. I don't know what I would like to see different. I just know that I feel like it's missing something. But in any instance that I needed a rosy toned monochromatic palette, I now have one. You guys know, since I am me, I of course want to go in with the purple and just make the whole look purple, but I just recently did a couple of purple looks, so I'm going to try to refrain from doing that. Obviously, I'm going to have to go in a purpley rose kind of tone, but maybe I can avoid the real purple. I'm gonna start by using this deluxe angled blender brush, at least I think that's what this brush is, and I'm gonna go into the shade Hair Flip. And at first, I'm just gonna begin by setting down the pigment and just pressing it into that base so that the base will set a little bit more and I can establish my transition shade all along the crease. I feel like my exposure is really high. Let me see if I can change that. Okay, there we go. I think I might have fixed my exposure. Maybe I won't be so overcast and bright anymore, or maybe I will be. Who knows? It looks like it's still really bright. This shade is one of those perfect shades for me for like an everyday sort of vibe. When I just don't want to mess with eyeshadow, I don't want to do a whole look some days, and this kind of shade is perfect so that I can just put on an eyeshadow base, throw on this eyeshadow on top of it, set that base in place, and go about my day. Throw on some mascara, maybe a cute little wing, and then go about my day. And I do feel like no matter what range you are in skin tone, there's probably a cool mauve shade in here for you that's like that. So I like that about this palette so far. Now I'm gonna add just the tiniest bit of a purple tone, and I'm gonna use the shade Touchy Feeling with this firm shadow brush, I think is what its official name is. So far there is minimal kickback in the pan. There's a little bit, but there's really not much. Really just enough to pick up some pigment with. And I just want to add this shade right into the crease and blow it out just big enough to where that you can see it whenever my eyes open. Just so we can establish that mauve undertone before I go in with any deeper browns. Well, I gotta hand it to the shadows so far. They're blending out very nicely. It looks very soft, yet the colors have built up to be exactly what they are in the pan. So nothing to complain about thus far. I just realized a very important brush that I would have included in this is something to blend the crease with for us hooded lid folk. Like a Morphe M433 or its baby sister version, the Morphe M456, which is even better. That's okay though. There's stuff that we can work with. It's just not optimal. Now I'm going to use the Pointed Deluxe Blender brush and go into the shade Met Online. That's how I met my ex. Probably why he is my ex now. No, I'm just kidding. There's plenty of viable relationships that you can have from people that you meet online. Just not him. So I'm using the point of this pointed blender brush to make sure I get that deepest color pushed right into the innermost portion of the crease. I don't want it to be blown out like the other shades were. I want it to stay just in the crease. That way it'll look like I have a bigger eyelid than I do. Or a bigger eye socket, at least. I'm also going to pull this shade out just a teeny tiny bit so it kind of establishes that same wing sort of shape that I got going. Now it's time to get a little bit more detailed, and I'm going to use this pointed crease brush, I believe. And I'm going to go into the deepest, darkest shade in the palette now. Oh, scary, I know. I'm going to use the shade Make It Official. And the shade is not quite a black. It looks more like a slate brown, if I had to give it a name. It's kind of a weird name, but that's what I would call it. Kind of like the brown that you would use in a brow pencil if it was a cool brown. And I'm going to apply this deeper tone on the outer area of my lid, like my outer V, as well as in my crease. But I'm going to just pull this single line of darkness all the way from the outer corner right into the inner corner. Just a line, back and forth, and back and forth, and back and forth. Over and over and over, and you're getting very sleepy, very sleepy. And when I snap my fingers, you will wake up and hit subscribe. Welcome back. Now, as you can see, the darkness has built up in my crease, making it look like I've got dimension. That shade's actually really beautiful, and it kind of melted in with the other shades with no problem. Ugh, can you see how this is blended out to just that soft, smoky, smooth, mauve kind of brown look? These are my favorite colors to work with. I guess if you just add purple to anything, I'm gonna love it, apparently. I feel like I've blended about as much as I need to, at least to get a nice soft fluffy blend. Now I'm going to use this flat, what do they call it? Maybe this was the firm shadow brush? I don't know. I'm going to use this flat brush now, and I think I'm going to use it in the shade Matchmaker. I really have no clue. I'm just trying to stay away from mainly purple, because I don't want you guys to come for me. Hey, but copper wasn't the wrong decision. That's a really pretty coppery bronze color. And surprisingly, it really works with that crease too. It's probably not as perfect as a mauve pinky tone would have been, but it's still really, really pretty. You know, for a dry brush, that's actually looking really good. It's got a fair amount of a metallic foil to it, but it also doesn't have a ton of texture that it's adding to the lid. It's just got some gorgeous shine. It looks like my eyelids are part of a statue. Ooh, that is just such a smooth and creamy eyeshadow. Wow, that looks really good. Now, I'm gonna have to use one of my own brushes. I know it's terrible, but this one is the Morphe X Madison Beer, and go into the shade Second Date. This is where I'm gonna get some of my mauve purple back in on the gig, but mix it with the brown as well, because this is kind of a brown mauve shimmer. I'm going to use this on outer corner and inner corner of the lid. Essentially going to be my transition between the crease color and the lid color. Hopefully. If everything works out, that's what it should look like. Ooh, I can tell by adding that second shimmer on the lid. It is adding a little bit of texture, a little more than I personally like, but it's not too far yet. It's not too crazy. It just lets me know that if I were to put probably one more shimmer on top of this set of shimmers, I would probably have too much texture and it would not look cute. But when it comes to that shade working with the other shade and pulling that crease color into the lid, it definitely worked because that looks beautiful. Next, I'm going to use the Luxie 246 Precision Crease Brush. This is pretty much just like the previous two brushes I used. And now I'm going to go into the shade Your Move, and Your Move is going to go right on the center of my lid. I'm just going to pack this on right in the center just to give this little spotlight eye a heck of a glow. Except it all disappeared pretty much immediately. So I'm going to do that again, the exact same way. Better, but still not good. I can see that it's adding that little bit of a lighter pinky tone. It's just not very potent. Let me instead go in with my pinky, because that is what that should be looking like. And that is powerful and beautiful. Oh, there it is. Ugh, wow. Oh, it's so pretty. Wow, 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 wow. That is gorgeous. That's everything I wanted and more. Since my eyelids are absolutely glowing now, I'm gonna use this, what do they call it? They called this one a brow highlighter brush. Now I'm gonna use the brow highlighter brush in the shade Across the Room. And I'm gonna use that as my brow bone highlight so that you can see my brow bone across the room. Ho 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 ho. Oh wait, that is maybe the wrong tone for this look. Well, that's okay. She's still cute. She's just a little different. But we will accept her and we will let her sit with all of us at the cool kids table. Wow. Just wow. Now that I've got the whole top part of the eye look done, I'm going to clean up the area around my eyes, and then we're going to go in with the Morphe Ink Felt Tip Liquid Liner, and I'm going to make a little wing with this look because I feel like it would be really good with it. Now that I got everything cleaned up and my edges are made, I love doing that before I go in with a liner because I can kind of cheat. Since I cleaned up my line where my wing would follow, I have a line to follow now. It's perfect. So now I'm gonna make a cute little wing, if that works out. Let me not speak too soon. My liner is now applied. After much deliberation and back and forth. They ended up a little bit bigger than originally anticipated, but when do they not, if I'm being honest? So now that I'm done with the whole top portion of my eyes, including the eyeliner, I'm gonna go ahead and go off camera so that I can do all of my face makeup, and then once I get it done, we'll come back so that I can do my lower lash line with the 35XO palette from Morphe. I will also then, once I finish the look, give you guys my final thoughts. So I will see you guys in just a second. Face makeup is done, so now let's finish off the lower lash line. I'm gonna start down there by using this little tiny angled brush. I think they called it a liner brush. I think that's what the anticipation of using it for was. Angled liner brush, yes. And it does look super fine and it looks like it would be perfect for liner, but I'm not gonna use it for liner. I'm instead going to go into the shade Love Story with this brush. And I'm gonna use that shade to essentially make a liner, but on my lower lash line. So I'm kind of tight lining with it. And I'm just gonna press in the shadow right against my lashes. That is so perfect and so pretty. We definitely have the reddish purple tone going on down there for sure now. And I just realized that I forgot to put on some eyeliner, so I'm gonna throw on my Charlotte Tilbury Mesmerizing Maroon Metallic eyeliner, and I'll be right back. Okay, got that applied. Now I'm gonna use this pointed blender brush, and I'm gonna go into the shade Message Red. Message Red is gonna be used to blend out Love Story right on the lower lash line, right up against those lashes again. I love how this style of blending, I guess, works. Going in with a really fine, precise brush and adding in the most intense color, and then blending it out with a fluffy brush using one of the least intense colors makes such a gorgeous effect when it blends between the two, because you still have the intensity of the original shade, but in such a small amount that it's not super dramatic, and then you have the softness of the blend that you want because you're pulling it down further. So it's like the best of both worlds. You still get your color, and you still get your really soft, pretty blend. it sounds like it's about time to give my final thoughts on the 35XO palette. But before I do, I'm gonna go ahead and go off camera, finish off my mascara on my lower lashes. I'm using the CoverGirl, the Supersizer Big Curl Mascara, and it gives some good curl. Anyway, I'll be right back, and then I'll give you guys my final thoughts. And now, to the tea. Now that I've created this finished look, what do you guys think? Do you like the look? Do you like the shades that I use to create the look? Let me know in the comments. You guys know I always want to know. What's your opinion? What are your thoughts? Let us discuss them. And when it comes to me and my thoughts, and if I would recommend the Morphe 35 Hugs and Kisses eyeshadow palette, I would say if you like this color story and you want a bunch of pink tones, mauves, and a couple of purples, and you are okay with wearing those shades like every day and you're gonna get a lot of use out of it, then yeah, by all means pick it up, because the quality is not bad. It's not the best formula I've used, but it's not the worst formula I've used. I actually really like Morphe quality. I feel like for the price, you actually get pretty decent pigmentation and blendability, and that's hard to find sometimes whenever it comes to lower price brands and eyeshadow palettes. So I always appreciate that from Morphe and from Morphe products, because you can usually get really good quality without having to break the bank. Now that being said, this isn't my favorite color story. It's probably not something that I would have actively been searching for. Just a rose-toned palette isn't, I don't know, it's not exciting to me, it's not invigorating, it doesn't inspire creativity. It's a cute look. This is very work appropriate, it's very glam. I love this. It's super beautiful, but it doesn't excite me. So based on the color story, I probably wouldn't pick it up again, but it's good to know I have some rosy tones that I can play with whenever I want to. Now I do really like with this color story how they include so many neutral browns essentially that can pair with the rose tones, the mauve tones, and the purple tones. What Morphe palette doesn't, honestly, but I feel like it's a good mix of those to go with all the rest of the colors. It makes it where it can have some variety but still have a nice even base to be able to work off of and find some kind of tone that works for whatever look you want to create. And I like that about it. Just color story this time, just color story this time, not necessarily for me. Again though, I want to know what you guys think, so please let me know down in the comments. Let's get a conversation going. You guys know that I love to talk to you, so by all means, speak your mind. If you did enjoy this video, it'd be really cool if you wanted to hit the little thumbs up down there. Just, you know, boop. Lets everybody else know that you like the video, but it also lets me know that you like my video, so I'd appreciate it. Also, if you like this look and you want to see more looks like them, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok. My username is the same for everything. It's just ChristopherJMUA. And if you gain nothing out of this video, if you gain nothing out of any of my videos, please at least gain this, and that is to always remember and to never forget that you are absolutely beautiful. And I love you guys. Bye.